Yeah.
So we today always assume that pimps are they dress flashy, they're super rich, they have big fancy cars, and they have women hanging off of them. The women love selling themselves and enjoy having sex and whatnot. This is not the case. In the United States, we have a huge problem of human trafficking, and it's important to be informed about it. It's important to be informed that children are involved with this, and it's important to be informed about the fact that there are health effects involved with this. Okay, so this occurs everywhere in the United States. There have been several reports of human trafficking busts in the Johnson County area. We are currently in the Johnson County area, so that's a problem. I originally became interested in this topic when I attended a seminar about human trafficking for an extra credit assignment in history. And today I'll be talking to you about human trafficking, the information on it, the definition of it, the background on it, how children are involved with human trafficking, as well as the health effects of human trafficking. Let's begin with the definition of human trafficking. According to the article, human sex trafficking, under U.S. law, it is the recruitment, harboring, transportation, provision, or obtaining a person for the use of commercial sex acts. Okay, the traffickers involved. 52% of men are usually the ones that traffic and obtain the victims. 42% are women, and 6% of the traffickers are both men and women that work together. Along with this, the victims are usually held in brothels for weeks and months at a time. The traffickers usually get the women, or sometimes men, to submit to the trafficking through abuse, being drugged, and being raped repeatedly. Okay. So trafficking is the fastest growing business at this time. The reason why is because traffickers are rarely ever caught. 1 in 800 traffickers are convicted of human trafficking. Okay, that was from the article, Human Trafficking, the Facts. We often think of children that they're never going to face these atrocities, that human trafficking is never going to happen to them in the United States. This is not the case. There are two main ways that traffickers obtain their victims. One way is through children coming from abused homes. This usually occurs when they come from abused homes, they're runaways, their parents don't like them, they don't feel welcome, they run away, they live on the streets, and the only way to survive is to resort to pimps and have them sell themselves. Another way is through a lot of teenagers. When they're really young, they're really lonely, they love boys, they want attention from them. The recruiters either force them into, forcefully abduct them. They deceive them through promises of love and marriage and, oh, I'm going to love you forever, just run away with me. And then the women are put into homes with 3-4 other women at a time, and they're forced to sell themselves. According to the article, sex slave trade enters the U.S. There are the children that usually enter prostitution around the age, boys usually enter around 11 to 13, and women and girls enter around 12 to 14. At this time, there are 300,000 children today that are at risk for being trafficked in the United States. Okay. For lucky victims that are rescued or saved from human trafficking, there are several health effects and risks that go with that. According to Pataki's article, Travesty of Human Trafficking, a Decade of Failed U.S. Policy, victims experience a tenfold risk of HIV and other sexually transmitted diseases, and the children that are rescued experience, 71% of them experience suicidal tendencies as well. Okay. According to the article, sex slave trade enters the U.S., 65% of the women rescued experience internal physical injuries, 24% of them experience head injuries, and 12% of them experience broken bones. And They also go through a lot of physical or psychological and mental effects as well. There's a huge problem with women trying to be rescued and law enforcement trying to take the action to be rescued. And a lot of the times, after a long period of time, the women don't want to be rescued. They have a bond towards the traffickers, and it's a huge problem because it's considered Stockholm Syndrome, which is after they've been raped, drugged repeatedly, and whatnot, they feel a bond with them, and it's really hard to break that bond. So having the women recuperate and recover and continue healthy, normal lives is usually not an option after you're in the sex industry for a long period of time. And to sum up, we talked about human trafficking, the information on it, the definition of it. We talked about the children and how they're affected in the United States of human trafficking, and we talked about the health effects of human trafficking. And I just want you guys to stop and think, like the next time you watch a movie or you see like actual women on the streets like selling themselves and stuff, stop and think like maybe they're not there for the reason that you think they are. They could have been there because they've been abducted and whatnot. So, yeah.
Thank you.